He yields for
And
questions.
Mr. Little, thank you very much for laying that the bill out. I just have a few questions for you about the number of people we're capturing here. How does SJR 87 relate or compare to SJR 5?
SJR 5 applies to literally everyone. So if you think about everyone who's charged with one of the most serious offenses, in SJR 5, we decided to allow the court or require the court to decide by a preponderance of the evidence if that person was a flight risk and deny bail, or by clear and convincing evidence if that person is an ongoing risk to public safety. And so this SJR is a little bit different. It requires denial of bail, meaning there's no discretion if there is a prior conviction of that defendant for one of these most heinous offenses, or they are already out on bail for one of these alleged offenses.
And then those offenses, would it be the same 9 offenses as described on SJR 5?
I believe that's correct.
Okay. Have there been any efforts to narrow the list of covered offenses?
Yes. In fact, when we started out this session, the gentleman beside me that you can see up here, we've spent literally dozens of hours in meetings, not only with our compatriots on the other side of the aisle, but with the governor's office and senators, trying to confine the list to the most heinous offenses because we did not want to capture every felony. If you talk about every felony in the world, there's literally over 3,000 of them, I believe. And so the purpose is to confine this in a narrow way to the most violent people that are out there committing these crimes.
And I think one of the big questions that we had earlier was aggravated assault, and I have my notes here. And how has that been narrowed? And in regard to causing serious bodily injury, does it include a bar fight? I think there's a lot of questions on that, and I think the body wants to understand that a little better because I definitely did have a
Thank you. It's a very important question. There are some 30,000 ag assault cases a year. And so if you took all of those and put it within the scope of this bill, you run the risk of jail overcrowding or not capturing the most serious ones. So what we did to compress that number of 30,000 to the smallest possible number is we only took, within the scope of these bills, aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury, which are the most serious kinds of ag assault cases that can be punished up to 99 years, or those involving the use of a firearm, knife, club, or other type of explosive weapon.
And you're talking about a firearm. So what if I'm carrying a pistol? I don't draw it, but I have it on me.
That would not qualify at all.
Right.
This is somebody is taking it out, pointing at someone, putting them in fear of loss of life or serious bodily injury.
So if one of my constituents is driving, a member of the family, and gets into a fight, has a pistol, he's not going to be held liable for that.
No, absolutely not. And self-defense or defense of others, certainly family members, that is not going to be within the scope of what we're doing here.
And then finally, one last question is in regard to trafficking. And are we talking about sex trafficking? What type of trafficking are we considering in this bill?
Yes, so among those offenses, we've got trafficking of persons. I think probably the representative here who knows the most about that, Representative Johnson. We're talking about 20A offenses, trafficking of persons, either human trafficking in the traditional smuggling people, or I guess, less traditionally understood version of that, which is, for example, running a prostitution ring, something along those lines. And then we also pick up continuous trafficking, which is multiple people, multiple offenses.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.